Hello, I am Robert.
And I am Roberta. And today we are with the stars of the Velocipastor, Gregory James Cohan and Alyssa Kempinski.
Hi, guys.
It's so nice to meet you virtually, face to face. Now, may I just say that we loved your film. We didn't give it a perfect score of 5 out of 5 pumpkins because it's a horror review show. Mm-hmm. And your film wasn't quite as scary as I thought it might be, but damn, was it funny and good.
Thank you.
I think
but we have questions, lots of questions.
Could I just start with a question?
Yes, Robert.
Did anybody in the production know a damn thing about either dinosaurs or the Catholic Church?
Go ahead, Alyssa. I'll let you take that first.
I don't think it was important to us, any of the knowledge. I think if they did, they just let it be what it was and came up with their own stuff.
There's a little bit of a history to this film. Mm-hmm. Doing my internet sleuthing, I discovered that the director slash writer slash everything else, I think, Brandon Steer, he had a short film that's on YouTube. Really, it's a trailer slash sizzle reel called The Velocipastor, and that was from 2011. And while I was researching your Velocipastor 2 campaign, I see he had a sadly failed campaign in 2011 for Velocipastor. Now, neither of you folks were in that sizzle reel that I saw. At what point did you guys become involved and how with the original feature film?
So yeah, the sizzle reel that's online, the original trailer for essentially a movie that would never be made, The Velocipastor, was a freshman year student film project at School of Visual Arts for Brendan and some of his collaborators. And he had this dinosaur suit from a production of, I think it was called The Last Dinosaur, that he was going to be shooting in his high school AV film club.
Yeah.
That taxpayers of Pennsylvania paid to have this dinosaur suit made for this film shoot. And about the day before they were about to go into production, the principal got wind of the script and was like, this is way too violent and way too adult for high school students to be making this film. We cannot do this. So they pulled the plug, but Brendan kept the suit in his garage. And during a text message chain to a friend, typed in the word Velociraptor and it auto-corrected to Velocipastor. And that's where it was born from. He shot the sizzle reel with some of his people at School of Visual Arts in New York, went on to do his first feature film in undergrad, his senior year, sold that for distribution.
I was in.
Oh, and Alyssa was in that. That was Animosity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Alyssa was in that film. So that's how, when they started to work together, cut to after college, Brendan wanted to make this movie, The Velocipastor.
I think we actually have 2 failed.
Yeah. Two failed. One on the first one on Kickstarter for that original one. Then it went on to Seed and Spark, which is a crowdfunding and distribution site for independent films. After Brendan had graduated from School of Visual Arts, I was working at Seed and Spark in like sales and marketing. I was also acting in New York. I saw the Velocipastor come up on our platform requesting funds to make the film. And I was like, everyone rushed around the computer and was like, oh my God, this is a real movie. We need to help these guys out. And I wrote to one of the producers because I knew one of the producers that I worked on a
Mini-series.
a mini-series, a web
which
series.
You and I both worked on.
Yeah,
and didn't know
Alyssa
each
and I
other at
just
the
happened.
time.
Yeah, Alyssa and I just happened to work on the same web series in different episodes. So I reached out to them and I was like, hey, I love what you guys are doing. If I'm still acting in New York, if there's any roles available in this, like, let me know. And they were like, well, the guy who plays the Velocipastor isn't available to do it. If you want to audition for it, I put it on tape and the rest is history.
Who was cast originally? Was it Denzel Washington?
Denzel wasn't available for it.
No.
He wanted to do it, but I think he was doing like the Book of Eli or something like that. Yeah, he had a big, yeah.
What a mistake.
What a mistake, right?
Velocipastor was better than that track.
Yeah, of course.
The original Velocipastor actor was the actor in the trailer.
Right.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot his name.
I don't remember his name either, and we were all obsessed with him at that point in time, so I can't believe that I forgot it.
based on the credits for all of these things, his last name was probably Steer.
Yeah, right.
There seemed to be
Yeah,
every Steer
Yeah.
family member.
Yeah.
Roberta,
So
do you have a question?
What is Brendan Steer like as a person? We're curious because he wrote, directed, seemed to have his hands in every aspect of this movie. Can you tell us a little bit about Brendan Steer?
Yeah, Brendan, I love Brendan. He and I have been dear friends for a very long time, and based out of like our collaborations. How do I describe him? He is a serious old man in a young person's body.
Yeah.
He's got flaming red hair and a serious love of orange cats.
Mm-hmm.
He is frenetic but gets things done, and he's got an amazing mind. I mean, he used to send me messages. I would always joke after it, but he would be in film school and I had moved to New York to pursue acting, and so we had mutual friends. My friends from college knew him from home, and that's how I got pulled into knowing him, because I didn't know so many people in New York. And so we collaborated on the first film, and then he'd always be like, Alyssa, how do you feel about ballet and the potential of speaking Italian? Yeah. And I'd be like, what are you working on, Brendan? So
he's kind of like, you know, you guys mentioned how he has his hand in everything in the film. He kind of has his hand in everything, period. He's a poet, he's a writer, he's a director, he's a musician, he does it all. He speaks like 3 or 4 different languages. Really? He is a lover and a full like cinephile. Like, you know, I know people who love movies, and then there's like people like Brendan who actually really know like foreign films. He's introduced me to so many different, not just films, but genres of film that like I never would have been introduced to. I may have been, but like, there's a lot of like obscure movies out there that Brendan introduced me to that were also an inspiration for some of his work. He's just a really talented guy, and he's able to do it all.
And unfortunately, he cannot join us this evening because he's in Japan or somewhere exotic.
Well, that's Jesse. Jesse's in Japan, who also co-wrote Velocipastor 2, but is directing Velocipastor 2. And Jesse actually shot Velocipastor 1. He was the director of photography for that.
Yeah.
It's completely written, Velocipastor 2.
Oh yeah. I was actually reading it today. Rereading it. I just like to go back to it every now and again. And like,
was ballet a hint? Was ballet a hint?
No.
There's no ballet. There might be some dancing. There might be some dance sequences.
There might be dancing, yeah.
In the second one. But there are some potential revisits from old characters in Velocipastor 2. I was reading it today, man, and like I just love it. Reminds me of when I first read the first script, because I was like, this is hilarious, and I get it. There's a little bit more blood and gore in this one, which I'm excited about, but it's definitely earned. So yeah.
Did you get it for the first one? Were you filming? I mean, you said you were reading the first script. So did you realize what this movie was in reality and what it might become, as opposed to just a bad horror movie. Was that at the script reading stage, or did you actually have to get onto set to realize that there was something sort of magical going on?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I definitely, from my experience, I read the script and I was like, oh my God, okay. Like, sure, this sounds fun. But what really excited me firstly was how passionate Brendan was about it and all of the influences. One of the things that he told me and my character, because technically, or maybe not, maybe there's a few other stragglers. Technically, the only actors that Brendan hired were me and Greg. Mm-hmm. Everyone else was crew members, family members, friends. There were a few other people I think who identified as actors, but the conversation that he had with me a lot was, I want people to be confused as to why you're in the movie because you're actually doing the movie and everyone else is doing something ridiculous. I don't know. I just love the way that he talked about it. And being on set, I knew it would be something.
Well, that was a question that I had, is like, who cast all the ninjas, for instance? Maybe one of them was Asian.
I don't think any of them.
No, I think one was.
One was.
Oh,
there's
yes.
one, not the actual fighting ninjas, but there was one. I think his name was Eric, right?
Yes, Eric.
Yeah.
He is Korean.
Yeah.
Yes.
Roberta, do you have another question?
Yeah. So speaking of those scenes, where was China and Vietnam actually filmed? We had our suspicions it wasn't China and Vietnam. Did you guys actually go there?
Wait, really? You really thought it wasn't China or Vietnam? No. It was filmed in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, in some of which were Brendan's backyard and some of which were like a family friend's house down the block from Brendan's backyard. So like we really traveled far.
I said New Jersey. Robert said Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Pretty close.
So we did film some scenes in New Jersey and New York.
Yes.
But the
I did see some New York signs. I did.
PA.
I have a question about the big, maybe everybody's, I'll say the most infamous scene, which is the VFX car on fire scene.
Yes.
How, and I know that was in Stroudsburg. How do I know that? Because Gateway Abstract's sign is directly behind the car that's supposed to be on fire. I wonder how Gateway Abstract of Stroudsburg, PA feels about being so highly featured in that very important scene for your character's motivation. Do you know? Do you have?
That's is that one of the bands or something that's on the sign?
I think it's like a title insurance company or something.
No. Oh my goodness.
Because there's like they'll fund us.
Yeah, maybe.
And then there's like a tea shop next door to it in the background. And I just wonder if they're happy or sad about that affiliation, or if they know. I don't know.
I don't know if they know. And it's just a testament to like, there's so many people that know about this movie, but there's a lot of people that don't. And like, we just continue to find new fans every day. And maybe Gateway Abstract is like one of the fans that just needs to know about this film.
They may wind up being a major supporter of the Kickstarter for Velocipastor 2.
That, or they'll sue us.
I'm thinking future sponsor. Definitely future sponsor. For sure. So I have another question. How much of the characters are on paper and how much of your characters were workshopped? I know I'm an actress as well. And sometimes you don't really figure out your character until you're in the room working on it. But sometimes a director will have such a clear vision, you're kind of like handed your character. So can you like walk us through how these characters, Carol and the Velocipastor, evolved?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was kind of touching on that before, but I think I felt really clear walking in to what we wanted. So much so that there are like choices in the movie that I know people have been like question mark about. Like I remember there's one moment in the film where Brendan calls action and the dinosaur just shows up and Brendan's like, I want you to play this scene like the director did something when you weren't ready. and you are confused.
Yeah.
And he keeps that shot
Yeah.
in the movie, but like I felt really clear about what I wanted out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
I
we
felt like,
also had each other to discover for. We did a rehearsal process.
yeah, believe it or not, we rehearsed. Not like a ton, right? Like we didn't over rehearse. We were still like,
Oh.
I think the reason we rehearsed was because of the tone of the film and like the like the fact that we wanted to convey to the audience, which I think Brendan does a really good job of like making it as if someone made a bad movie by accident, but it was like fully intentional to do some of the things that you might see in like really poorly produced films in like the late 70s and early 80s, right? Like little mistakes here and there, or like wobbly camera movements and things like that. I watch some of these movies that are like these like 80s Italian giallo movies, and like that's there, and that's like the style of this filmmaking, and it's just like I don't understand what's happening, but like it kind of works. In terms of my character, Brendan and I like had a pretty good dialogue going just about like, you know, the arc of Doug Jones from priest to Velocipastor. So that was a lot of fun. But we also had like this hidden dialogue going on about like the actor playing Doug Jones in the Velocipastor, as if like, you know, not Gregory James Cohan, but just as if like he were some like, you know, well-studied English Shakespearean actor that like got cast in this weird movie that, you know, just thought this was like his big break and was just like taking it so seriously. So that was fun. That was a lot of fun to do, to like really like dial up those different those different tones.
I think it came through very well.
Yeah.
And I think that your chemistry, the both of you, worked really well because you both seemed to like get it and like you understood the assignment. Unlike
yeah, exactly. I love that. It's a great compliment. Thank you.
So I think to all of your credit, since everyone was on the same page, that's why it worked so well in the final product.
Do you each have a favorite line from this film?
Well, should I start, Greg?
Yeah, you of course have at it.
I don't know much about God.
I don't know much about dinosaurs. So that
I thought
that was,
it might be that couplet. Yes.
that was something that we found in the rehearsal process, which was really cool because we had like a scene that, you know, after Doug murders Frankie Mermaid, spoiler alert, sorry if anyone hasn't seen it, sorry, abstract, whatever it was. Yeah. It was just a scene that like what we weren't really sure what the sentiment was. It wasn't like working. So like we just started improvising in the room, and Alyssa just like laid that one up for a slam dunk, you know?
Do you think they will be as open in the second film to improvising? Or will the scriptwriter be a taskmaster and say what I wrote, damn it?
You know, I think because so on the second film, Greg and I, as well as Brendan and Jesse, are the producers of the film. And so we've been a part of the process since the very beginning, and we've been rewriting scripts. And, you know, we didn't put the script down on paper, but we've been very much a part of, you know, she would say that, absolutely not, like all those kinds of conversations. So I do definitely believe we'll be actively like working that out. And if we find something that doesn't work, you know.
So I know when this second film makes it gigantic and you know, wins Academy Awards and stuff like that, clearly you guys are going to be well taken care of. But I want to ask something that I don't want Brendan to hear it, but are you getting any kind of residuals from the first film?
We're still making, that's okay. We're still, you know, it's still making profits. It's still, people are still, you know, buying the movie online, renting it, and it's still doing well. Like I said, I mean, it's still one of the things that like people continue to stumble upon on the internet, and you can just like see it in our like IMDb tracking and rating. Like every now and again, some prominent TikToker or YouTuber will like, tweet about it or do a review on it, or just like find it and like put it on their TikTok, and it blows up. And like, that's when like the meter just starts to rise, and like both of our star meters on IMDb Pro like go up, and it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. So it's pretty cool to see that happen.
It is wild.
Yeah.
It's super organic the way it's growing. It's word of mouth.
It's from the fans. It's from people. It's like from literally like 5 minutes into the movie, from like VFX car explosion or VFX car on fire, you're either in or you're out. And like most people are in. There are definitely reviews out there. People are like, this movie isn't for me. It's like, but like, it's what it, I mean, that's every movie. But like,
So
most
we are
of the
not
people
the
are
first to review your movie.
No.
Well, yeah, but it's just like, we're here talking about it because you guys get it and you guys like it, and it's in your wheelhouse of things that you find funny and joyous and like silly, and it's a nice departure from what's out there right now.
Absolutely. It's a breath of fresh air. And that VFX car moment, it's funny you say that, because that was the moment where I decided I was in. Like,
Yeah.
that was the moment.
That's it. It's the buy-in for everyone. That was actually supposed to be like a miniature. Like we were gonna, Brendan and Jesse were gonna like actually take like either some shitty looking miniature and like blow it up with like a firecracker, and like it would have looked equally as bad. But like we had that in as like a placeholder and showed it to some test audiences, and they started dying laughing. And it was like, oh God, okay, we keep it.
So that was on purpose then. In the end, it was released on purpose with that.
Accidentally on purpose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Correct.
Amazing. I love that moment.
Is there a chance that Frankie Mermaid can come back and be in the second?
There.
I don't know.
Takes place in Milan, Italy, and there's Interpol and Soviet spies and ghosts and masked slashers. Anything's a possibility.
Yeah, anything could go. Anything goes down in Italy.
Yeah.
So I'm told. Yeah.
Italy, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's been funny. People have been like, do you need help like finding locations and with casting in Italy? And I'm
In
like,
Milan?
you
Yeah.
think we can afford to go to Italy? Like,
you clearly didn't watch.
so expensive.
You didn't watch the first movie.
You
Oh
might
my
be
God,
able to.
no.
I have your Kickstarter up.
Yeah.
You're up over 71,000.
Yeah.
This
We're
is
doing all right.
amazing.
Yeah.
You're doing well.
Thank
This
you.
one won't fail.
Yeah.
You know what? But here's the thing. If it does, that's not going to stop us.
No.
Yes.
It hasn't stopped us getting it this far, and we've had two failed before.
Well, how much did it
Third
cost to
time's
make
the
the first
charm.
one? Like
The original was-
$1.98 or
The original one was no, the original one was made for $35,000, and that was after a Seed and Spark, the campaign. They raised a couple $1,000s. It it just didn't have the audience at the time.
Yeah.
But we were able to get funding for it, and yeah, we made it for $35,000. We raised $35,000 in a day on Kickstarter. So we're on our way. We've got a ways to go. So if anyone's watching this and wants to see this movie made or hasn't seen Velocipastor 1, go check it out and then head on over to our Kickstarter and contribute to the campaign. There's a bunch of cool rewards and exclusives, and we're going to be releasing a teaser trailer for Velocipastor 2 shortly.
So soon.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to see it made, but I mean literally, like I'm close enough to Stroudsburg that I might drive there and spy on you guys from the bushes.
You don't have to spy. You don't have to spy. We're going to need featured background. We've got a Google form that we've been sending out to people that are hitting us up on Instagram for anyone that wants to be involved in the film in any capacity, just so we keep it on file, because we don't just want to be like, because like the first movie was made with so many favors, and like there are legit people who want to just be a part of it and help out in any way. So Alyssa built a Google form that we've been sending out to fans and anyone that is like legit interested in helping out or is in the areas that we'll be filming, so we can keep you on file and let you guys know if you want to be a part of it.
Oh,
Even
I'm
if
gonna
we
get
could
that.
play
I'm
Dead
gonna
Body,
get that
that
form.
would be great.
Yeah, there's dead bodies, there's
Virgins.
there's virgins, there's an Italian fertility festival. It's gonna be amazing. Yeah.
Incredible.
I have been both a virgin and a dead body before.
Nice.
Ah,
I
yeah,
have
Nice.
experience.
Nice.
That's very good
You are
experience.
highly qualified.
I am.
No, but truthfully, like the first film worked because everyone loved the joke, was in on the joke, and just building on that. And we had just so much love for this stupid project. You know, we were cracking up half of the time. And so the reason we want to keep everyone involved is because we want to keep that going, you know?
Yeah.
Roberta, we're about over 20 minutes now. I want to get any other questions in before we let these good folks go? Because they have some memorization to do for Velocipastor 2.
Yes. I think we've covered most of my questions, but I guess when do you anticipate the sequel will be available for the fans?
We are crossing our fingers. Our schedule is that we'll be shooting Q2 of 2023. So probably the end of 2023 with our fingers crossed. Yeah, but that's the part of the reason why the Kickstarter is so exciting, is there's going to be so much accessible to those who are interested in seeing what we're up to. We've got like behind the scenes options. We're going to have a whole behind the scenes stuff like that. The teaser, yes, amazing. Like, we want people to be involved. This is the family's just got bigger, and that's really all
I have a real dinosaur tooth, by the way.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Wow.
T-Rex.
Wow.
It's
Not a
massive
velociraptor.
tooth.
All right. That's amazing. Did you find that in your backyard in Pennsylvania?
Yes, it's isn't I went to visit Thomas the Tank Engine, who I believe lives in East Stroudsburg, and
Nice.
it was right under him.
Nice.
Wow. Okay.
Gregory and Alyssa, how can people find your funding campaign for Velocipastor 2?
You can head on over to any of our social media channels. You can follow us at the Velocipastor on Instagram, or on our Facebook page, or at the Velocipastor Official on TikTok. Any of the links in our bios will take you over to our Kickstarter campaign. Or if you just go over to Kickstarter, we've been on the cover page, look up the Velocipastor 2 on Kickstarter, and head on over to our campaign. There's 15 days to go as of this recording. Yeah, we've got a ways to go. So go check out some of those rewards. Be a part of our family. Be a part of our movie. Let's get Velocipastor 2 made. Let us pray.
Let us pray.
I'm a dinosaur.
It was
Yeah.
so fun meeting you guys.
Thank you guys so much for
Seriously,
having
Thank
us.
you so much for doing this.
Of
You
course.
have
I wish we
great
could do it. I wish
style,
we could do it in
Roberta.
person. Yeah.